I love it. I'm so delighted that we're going back. My debut at the Royal Albert Hall was 2 years ago when I was there in Beethoven 5 with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. So it's wonderful to be asked for the first time, but it's even more thrilling to be there for the second time. So I can't wait. I've performed it quite a lot, especially in the last 2 years. And in the summer, in August last year, we recorded it actually with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra and Dara Lang. So the disc will be released on Signum Records later on this year with the arrangement of the Nutcracker by Pletnev. So that'll be really exciting. I think, the challenges of the concertos are quite clear in my head. So, of course, after you pass all the technicalities, because you have to practice very, very hard. But the concerto for me is like a ballet. So you have to get that, to get all the costumes, to get all the dancers in your head, and you have to transmit all of those emotions to the public. So there's quite a few sequences where the orchestra is just playing very, very softly, as if it's a change in the set. The concerto is a very thrilling piece. It's very exciting. For me, it represents a battle between the piano and the orchestra, but in the same time, it's just got so many lyrical moments as well, and the concerto is just so beautiful that you fall in love with it, whether you hear it for the first time or for the 19th time. And of course, we have to think about Tchaikovsky in the context of 1874 when he wrote it. He was 34, and at that time he was a teacher at the Moscow Conservatoire. He was barely getting his living, so he was teaching, and he was a journalist as well for a local paper, but his passion was composing. And although he had written a fair bit, it was only the Second Symphony and Romeo and Juliet that got a bit of enthusiasm from the audience. So for him writing this concerto with a lot of assurance and confidence, it meant a great deal. And although he was put down by his teacher, by Nikolai Rubinstein, who said it's an awful piece and it should be put into the bin, he really believed in the piece and stood by it. And this is wonderful because Hans von Bülow, who actually premiered the piece, loved it, and the following year after Tchaikovsky wrote it, took it on tour in the States. So the concerto was premiered in Boston, and then afterwards Hans von Bülow played it 139 times out of 172 concerts that he did that season. So it shows the popularity of the concerto and how much the audiences love it. I don't think so. I think it's very much written in the orchestral style because Tchaikovsky was not a pianist himself. So there are some bits that are quite difficult, but of course you just have to practice and practice. And then it's all about the piano being integrated organically within the orchestra. So although we do battle a few times, but in the same time, there's a lot of dialogue as well. And you have to match the solo with the oboe or with the clarinet or with the bassoon. So it's just a constant dialogue. Well, I can play. I've got quite a few in my repertoire, but at the moment this month is actually very, very busy because I'm doing 5 different ones. So I've just done the Tchaikovsky, we're doing Rachmaninoff Second, Rachmaninoff Ragpag, the Rhapsody on the theme of Paganini, Mozart 21, and Grieg. So it's quite a lot of them. Of course, I play the 2 Shostakoviches as well. But I think one of my passions is to introduce new music to audiences as well. So next year, I'm very excited. I'll be playing Ginastera Concerto, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's got so many tango melodies in it, and it just makes you want to dance, and it's got a thrilling finale, and it's wonderful. And a Romanian composer, Dinu Lipati, who is he's one of our most beloved pianists of all times, but he wrote a concertino for piano and orchestra, and I gave the UK premiere 2 years ago. So I'm very excited to be playing it again in the future. I think I am on an emotional high, and being on stage surrounded by so many people, and of course the Royal Philharmonic on stage, it's wonderful because they've become friends, and it's great when you see some of them smiling at you while you're playing. So it's great. We're like a family on stage, and I think I just get emotional food or musical food from performing on stage. It gives me inspiration, and I just love being on stage. I think that's the most important thing. It's like living in London, you know, it's very, very busy, but all of those people give you energy, and they make your creativity grow.